Hey, what's going on, everybody? Andrew here, back for our build review show. It is Thursday, October 17th of 2024. Apologies for the late. It's our build review show. We do this show Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. And on this show, I bring users' builds up live on stream, giving them personalized feedback and advice about things that I think that they can do differently in their builds to help them build stronger lineups, submit stronger lineups, have better post-contest sim ROIs, and ultimately, hopefully help them win more money. So that's the goal here. And I really enjoy doing this show. If you ever want to get signed up, drop your DK username in the office hours channel in our Discord server. Let me know your DK username. Let me know what sport and slate you want me to review, and I will add you to the list for the next show. So with that said, let's get SaberSim up here. And it looks like first person up is going to be Bulldog. Bulldog, we just reviewed Bulldog, and it looks like they took my advice and basically did a couple of tests. One thing I've been suggesting to people is like, hey, when you have different ideas, enter two low stakes 20 maxes and try one strategy in one and then try one strategy in another and kind of see how they work out. So some notes to go with this review before we jump in. All right. So says that there should be two builds here, but I only see one. Interesting. Okay, so he said they did one build, which was entered into all contests except the first down. Okay, so it looks like they did one build that went into the quarter jukebox, the dime time, and then these satellites. And then they did another build that only went into the first down. They said, I was able to get a strong ROI and more unique lineups with the first build with all the contests. But their sim average score was lower than they'd like. And in the first build, they used an ownership filter. Now, in the first down, they only used a sim ROI filter. So that's a big difference here, right? So going through this. So it looks like, and this is kind of easy to see because the first down is the top contest. So on the first down, they only used a sim ROI filter. On every contest below, they used sim ROI and an ownership filter. So those are the differences here. So why don't we look at least the first down in the quarter jukebox and compare sim ROIs across the two. So let's start with the first down. Weird. Hold on. I don't know why the post-contest sims aren't coming up. So let me try this again. All right. One more time. Get Bulldog up here. And go back to yesterday. College football, 2-gamer. All right, try this again. Okay, cool. So now we're seeing both builds. So I don't know what was wrong before, but now we're seeing it. So ownership filter, sim ROI only. Okay, and it looks like they entered two first downs, not just one. Hold on, one. Apologies, just had to sneeze real quick. All right, so let's go in here. Okay, and it actually says the source, right? So this is even better. So now we have this source. We know which ones went into which. So let's start with the sim ROI only. So sim ROI only, this 3K first down. Let's go and look at these sim ROIs. So we got Bulldog here, 20 lineups, sort by sim ROI. So this is good, right? They're 32% sim ROI in this contest. And it looks like they're probably like a top 15 maxer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're 13th on this list. Okay. So this is a very good sim ROI. I would be very happy with this. If I saw this myself, I'd be like, you know what? I'm doing all the right things. This is great. My average dupes is right in line with a lot of the other users. My sim average score is in line with a lot of the top users. And this is good, right? So this came from sim ROI only. Now let's go and look at the first down with the ownership filters. All right, Bulldog, 20%, sort by sim ROI. So this is almost even better, right? Bulldog is second on the sim ROI list, 72% sim ROI. The highest is 75. And then after them, there's like this huge drop off to like 50, right? So this kind of tells me that, hey, both are viable, but this option is better. And the interesting thing here, right, is that they do sacrifice, a lot of sim average score. But what I'm noticing is that what they're losing in sim average score, they're gaining in uniqueness, right? 3 average dupes compared to all the other users at 7, 10, 22, 21. The closest we see is 6, 11, 36, 12, 18. So this slate, duplication is high. Well, they're striking the right balance of duplication and sim average score here. Now, I know you made a comment, and I kind of want to touch on this. Said my sim average score was lower than I'd like. My question for you is, where does your preconceived notion about your sim average score being low kind of come from, right? Where is this number that you're searching for? Are you comparing it to the other users and you're like, it's low? It's like, yeah, it is low, but you're playing lineups that are average dupes of 3, and these people are playing lineups that are average dupes of 22, right? So it's almost like when you win, you're going to win, so much more of the first place prize than these other users are, right? And you could actually see this in your sim 99th percent profit. So this column is showing you, hey, this is how much money you win in your top 1% of contest sims. So what we do is, we run the contest sim 100,000 times, and then we rank them by like, okay, you won the most money in this one, the second most, the third most. So this would be looking at your top 1,000. Like if we ranked it from most winnings to least winnings, this would be the 1,000th score. So your 1,000th highest profit is $500, 510 to be exact. Now go and compare that to the other users, right? Their 99th percent profit when they have 22 dupes is $186. The person with 21 dupes is $175, right? The other user with 6 average dupes compared to your 3 is $414, which is like, almost $100 less. So I actually like this better because when you win first, you are winning so much more of the first place prize with this approach, as opposed to the opposite. See, the other person who is having a high sim average score, but a high dupes, they're going to need to win multiple of these contests throughout the year to be profitable. You might only need to win one to pay for your entire year of entry fees, right? We kind of see this with like NFL Showdown, where some people go super unique. Some people play more in the middle. Some people play high win probability, higher dupe lineups. The person playing higher win probability, higher dupes, they're going to need to take down a couple contests in a season to really pay for all their entry fees. But the person, playing more unique, they kind of just need to win once. And if they win once, they're kind of set like for the year, right? So ultimately, both approaches you took here were positive sim ROI. They were high sim ROI. Now, if you don't like this approach, you can go with the sim ROI only. I think this approach is better based on, what we've seen here, but it's going to be up to you to figure out which one makes more sense to you, kind of speaks to you, is more your flavor. So But I think you went about this the right way, right? You got all the information you needed based on our last review. Our last review, kind of more questions, kind of what should I do? And then this time it's like, okay, hey, I've applied those ideas. Now let's just analyze them and then figure out where to go from there. So I think that, we started out with like a question. We came up with a couple solutions. You applied those solutions in real time. And then now this is just the analysis of those and figuring out which one you want to go with. So if it was up to me, I'd probably still use ownership filter. It's okay to still use sim ROI only. Got to figure out what works best for you. But all in all, this is super good stuff. I'm very glad you followed through with this and came back. This is the first time that somebody hit me up and was like, hey, I tried it. Can we go over the results together? So this was super fun. I really enjoyed this review, and keep it up. All right. Good stuff there. Next up, it's going to be our guy, Ty. Really quickly, Sammy said, highly agree on Andrew from someone who had a couple takedowns last season on NFL Classic. Yeah, just depends, right? I mean, you want to get as much of that first place prize as you possibly can. And, winning is hard enough, right? Like winning once is hard enough. To have to win multiple times in a season just to, break even can be kind of tough. All right. Next person up, it's going to be Ty. We're going to be studying MLB Showdown from yesterday. So let's go back to yesterday. Let's go over to MLB. And we said Showdown, so probably Dodgers, Mets. All right. Loading this up right now. Jump over to the contest tab. So this is good, right? Playing a single entry, throwing a couple lineups in the solo shot, not maxing it out because that's not what they want to do. So it's totally okay to enter less than the maximum here. I think that's always fine. We'll study the lineups in the solo shot since there's more. Okay, users got Fetty here, greater than or equal to 9. Whenever you enter less than the max, I think this is always the right way to study your lineups. Because you want to see people who entered as many as you or more lineups. All right. So good news, right? 38% sim ROI. This is very strong. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th on the list, right? This is awesome. This is exactly what you want to see, right? You're up there with the top players. You're building strong lineups. Some notes here. Average dupes is 1, right? This is good. We see people in a range from I see 2, I see 3, I see 0, I see 4. So 1 is a really solid number. 6 out of the 9 lineups are unique. So that's 2/3 of the lineups. And 8 of the 9 are under 5 dupes. So it looks like there was just one lineup that came in probably highly duped. That happens sometimes. Can't control against those things or can't perfectly predict them, I'd say. Sim average score is good. 54.94, pushing I was saying that I think that these are very solid lineups. So good job, Ty. Let's see what you did in your build. No filters, no rules, no lineup filters, using single game saber score, right? Another important part here, they're using autofill, and then they're sorting by prize pool, right? Sorting by prize pool, very important there, like that. Let's jump, open to the players table again. Exposures, pretty unopinionated. We're not seeing any min or max exposures. We see just 2 minimum required projection adjustments. And that's it. So very good set of lineups. Sometimes when there's not a lot to say, that means you're doing something right. And, there's not a lot to critique or give ideas about, because I think that, I don't want to lead you astray and point you down the wrong path. So great job, Ty. Keep it up, man. And, keep hammering away. The more of these you could play, the better also, right? This is something really quickly that I talk about is when for NFL, right, I play every showdown. I don't just play Monday, Thursday, and Sunday night, right? Like when you have a good process, and you're trying to realize your ROI, realize your equity in this contest, the more of these you could play, the better, right? So I think there's a 2-game slate today. So like I would have, I would have liked to see Ty play both the early showdown and the late showdown, right? I don't know if they did or not. I hope they did, but just going forward, try and play as many of these as you can. Like don't only play the showdown because that's all that's available. And then today there's a 2-game classic and then you play that instead. Play all 3 if you want, right? Split your bankroll across all 3. Get those lineups in to maybe the showdowns first, right? Because when there's one game, it's not going to correlate to the other game. So then you could have action in both. So I always prioritize the showdowns because they're uncorrelated to each other. And I would, if I were to give any other advice, that's what I would say. Make sure you're playing all the showdowns you can. All right. Before we move on, a quick question. How do I get into the Discord after signing up? Good question. I could drop an invitation to the Discord here quickly. No problem at all. I'll drop it in the YouTube chat. There should also be one in the description of this video, now that I think about it. But just in case there isn't, there is a link to join the Discord right there. So just drop that off. All right. Next person up is going to be Sammy. We're going to be looking at Monday Night Football Showdown from earlier this week for NFL. So let's get Sammy up on the screen. And let's hop back to Monday. Sammy looks like one of the few people using light mode, so I'm glad I hadn't brought that up on the screen yet. And we have switched Sammy over to dark mode for the interim here. All right, so let's go to the contest tab. Playing 20 lineups. 20 lineups in the 10 cent. This is a very good contest to start with. And, usually these contests have a lot of entries, right? Like you'll see a lot of dime times with like 1,000 to 3,000 entries. I mean, 59,000 entries. It ends up being a bigger contest, right? So this is totally fine to be playing. All right. Let's pull up their results, see how they did. All right. Contests results have loaded. Let's go to users. All right. We got Sammy here. 20 lineups. Sort by sim ROI. All right. So good news here. Man, these 20 maxes are sometimes so hard with all these lineup trains. I'm going to make an executive decision here and remove lineups duped greater than 100 times. Average dupes, less than or equal to 100. Okay, these are probably more reasonable as far as like sim ROIs go. So Sammy, 37% sim ROI, highest sim ROIs. I'd say if you can get into like the 60 to 70 range, that's like pretty good. So good news is they're positive sim ROI, right? There is a little bit of room for improvement. So that's great. We'll try and figure out how we can do that and get to, good lineups. But I would be pretty encouraged by these lineups overall, just like based off what I'm seeing. Some of it is like a little variant. Like I'm kind of surprised to see this person W Hood with 39 average dupes and a basically similar sim average score as Sammy, while Sammy has 23 average dupes and a similar sim average score, and they have a unique lineup and 6 under 5, and this other person doesn't. So that's like one thing I'm. So, the fact that we can't tell for sure if all these lineups are like 20-man trains or what makes it a little bit harder to judge. So I wouldn't be discouraged or like, oh, how can I improve like so much or like by so much? I think that Sammy's doing a lot of the right things already. So let's jump into this build. We might be able to learn more here. All right. So min salary 0, max salary 49.6. I think it's okay to drop max salary, especially like the bigger the contest. All right. We do have 3 rules. Sleeper captain is named 1. Use at least one captain whose ownership is less than 21. I'm actually surprised you got Josh Allen at all. Oh no, you basically maybe Allen made the cut at one point. Like he was under, and then he went slightly over afterwards. So you're basically fading Breece Hall captain. 20 lineups isn't that much. So I think it's okay to do something like this. Tamer, use exactly one flex in like the 4K range. So it's like a kicker, probably a defense, probably like a wide receiver 3 or something like that. Last spot, use exactly one flex whose ownership is less than 21. So I don't mind any of these rules because they're not hyper specific. They're directionally pushing the builder in a certain direction, and it doesn't seem to be hurting his post contest sim ROI too much. So I think these rules are fine. If you want to keep using them, that's totally cool. Looks like a little opinionated in the post build as far as like, hey, I want to get to, a couple of captains. I think it's okay to try and get to some players. We do see some projection adjustments here. And a few of them look a little aggressive. So all I would say is just be very certain and in your confidence in these adjustments. A lot of these look directionally correct. Curtis Samuel did score more than his projection. Ty Johnson did score less than his projection. Matt Collins did score more. So some of this research looks good. Mike Williams didn't do so well. Braylon Allen didn't do so well. So like three good ones and then 2 bad ones. I would say track them if you're going to keep doing these. The other thing I'll say is seems like Sammy was very opinionated in his flex ownership. I would say the one thing that concerns me a little bit is that, you put a rule to use at least one in the 4K to 5K range. And what I'm assuming is that the builder used somebody maybe you didn't like, and then you came in here and put a bunch of minimum exposures to guys that you wanted. If you wanted these players in the first place, then I would have just not put the rule. But when you put the rule and you kind of put it in the builder's hands to figure out who to use, and then they don't use the player you want, and then you go enforce, I think you should just go about it a different way. So what I would have rather done probably is done a manual group rule. And if I just sort by salary, and you were targeting these guys in the 4K to 5K, so I'm just making some assumptions. Instead of put these minimum exposures plus the rule, just be more specific and just go in and do a manual group rule that says use at least one, use exactly one, and then just click in these players that you're setting these minimum exposures to. So you almost came at it from 2 different directions to get a roundabout result. I would have just manual group rule, put all 3 in there and just kind of let the builder figure it out from there. So that might have been a better way to do it. So that's just one thing I would have done differently there. But all in all, positive sim ROI, good set of lineups. Think you're doing a lot of the right things. Don't think your rules are hurting you. Consider making this one adjustment to your rules, but all in all, good job. So good stuff there. But that was our last person signed up for the build review today. So appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys ever want to get signed up for the show, drop your DK username in the office hours channel. Let me know what sport and slate you want me to review. and I will add you to the list for the next show. Tomorrow is our last show of the week. So if you want to get reviewed before the weekend, tomorrow is the day to do it. So appreciate everybody. Good luck tonight, and I will see you all tomorrow. So till then, take care. Thanks. Bye.